So you're thinking about moving to Bend, Oregon? In this video, we're going to interview a good friend, personal mentor, and real estate investor. If you stick around until the end, I will share with you information that could save you thousands of dollars. You definitely don't want to miss that. And we're going to get after it right now. Time to the channel and you want to know everything about living in Bend, Oregon, then subscribe below, tap the bell for notifications, and we'll let you be the first to know about the current market conditions in Bend, Oregon. My name is Joshua Grossman. I'm the leader of the Grossman Home Team with eXp Realty. And we get calls and emails every day from people like you and you and you and you and you looking for help on making their move to Bend, Oregon. And we absolutely love it. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, or sign up for a free Zoom consult. All of our information is in the description below. We want to help make a smooth move to Bend, Oregon. As we mentioned, we are here with Walter Key, author, realtor, entrepreneur, and my personal mentor to talk about real estate investing and finance. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by this episode today where we're going to talk to Walter Key. We're going to talk about investing in real estate, and we're putting out these videos to keep you informed. And if you're moving to the Bend, Oregon area, this is why we do it. Investing in Bend, Oregon is a great option right now, and we just want to give you some options. So, hey, Walt, thanks for stopping by the show today. Give us a little bit about yourself and tell us where your expertise comes from.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on. So I have been a property owner, landlord, renter, rentee for about 2.5 decades now. Started with a military career, and rather than pay somebody else's rent for 2 decades as I bounced around the military, I chose to make wise investments every time I moved, and that kind of sparked my love for investment real estate. So I've had several, what I'll call live-in flips. I've had several long-term rentals. I've now owned several short-term rentals, which is the strategy that I'm moving more to now that I'm here in this beautiful, sunny, Florida area. It's a great vacation spot. So I'm looking more short-term at this point. That's me in a nutshell. Real estate investor, real estate agent, real estate coach. If it's real estate, I love it.
That's awesome. Hey, well, what did you do in the Navy?
So I did a little bit of everything. I say that by background, I was an intel weenie because that's the easy way to say it. But I started my career doing the cool guy stuff, jumping out of airplanes, blowing stuff up, shooting guns. And then I got married and realized it's not as cool as I thought being gone all the time. And so I migrated into the intel community, got really bored with intel, and then I had to find the cool guy intel jobs where I could still kick some doors in, but do it as a slightly tamer environment.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's talk about the investment process when it comes to real estate. So, like if someone's new to investing, in your opinion, from doing this multiple different times, what's the easiest way to get started at investing in your first piece of real estate?
Easiest way. So there's a couple easiest ways, but let's take a young person looking to get their foot in the door. Maybe they don't have a ton of money and they're trying to break into the real estate space. There's a strategy called house hacking, which is incredibly useful. You basically buy your primary residence, but you buy it in such a way that you can also rent it out. So for example, a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, all can be financed with a conventional residential mortgage. So as long as you live in one of those 2, 3, 4 units, it's a very low down payment because it's your primary residence. But in the meantime, you can rent out the other sides. A lot of people that'll house hack a 2, 3, fourplex will easily clear their mortgage payment and then some while they live in it. And then a couple of years goes by and they're like, okay, we're done with this. We're moving on. We want a bigger house. We want to settle into a family dynamic, whatever that looks like. You simply move into a new primary and you put another renter in the unit you were in. And now 3 or 4 renters are paying significantly more collectively than what your mortgage was. So that's a great way to get started. The first thing I would tell anybody is take the time to educate yourself a little bit on what strategy you think you want to execute. Don't try to be the jack of all trades in this business, right? Figure out, do you want to do long-term rentals? Do you want to do short-term rentals? Do you want to specifically focus on rehabbing houses and do fix and flips? I don't recommend that a brand new investor tries to do all of those. I recommend that they figure out one area that appeals to them, learn something about it, and then start diving in.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I also think it's good to ask people that have done it before you. Like
Yes, absolutely.
ask an expert advisor, find an expert advisor. That's why we're putting this information out there, because those people definitely are available, from investors like Walt, who's also a real estate agent, who also wrote a book, who has done this in time. To myself, like I help investors purchase houses all the time. So like, what about someone that that's a little more seasoned, that maybe wants to do you hear about these things of find that off market house, and you get this incredible deal on it and buy it with no money down and buy it with someone else's money. Like, what do you say to those kind of claims, Walt?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of truth to that, but generally speaking, in the investment world, you're not making wise investments without putting a little skin in the game. You're not going to purchase a home, whether it's your own or an investment, with no money out of pocket. It's not a wise idea to even attempt that. It makes it hard for you to actually have a good investment, because the amount you're paying every month eats away cash flow, et cetera, et cetera. So you got to understand cash on cash ROI and some internal rates of return, some investment metrics to be able to analyze a good deal. But there are some great investor friendly loan products that make it easier for the average person to dive into an investment. So, for example, if I know I'm going to be buying an investment property and I already own my own primary residence, I can't be a renter, but if I own my own home, which I always recommend you start with that. Don't make investments if you don't own a home, because the equity that you'll build in your own home can then be leveraged for future investments. So do that first. If you own your own primary residence, there are investment products that allow you to make the purchase and qualify the purchase simply based on what they call the performance of the asset. In other words, I want to buy this house and I know in this market it will rent for $2,000 a month. And I know that if I buy it, my mortgage payment and my insurance and my taxes will be less than $2,000 a month. Well, that asset performs, it makes money, and therefore the loan can be written without regard to my income. Do I have a bank statement loan, or I'm sorry, a bank statement that shows my income? I don't need to provide tax returns and W-2s, and I'm a contract worker, I'm not a W-2 employee. It doesn't matter, because the lender is looking at, does this asset make more money than you'll be paying? If it does, we'll qualify the loan. So there are some easier ways to do that. But generally speaking, you're still bringing money to the table when you close that deal. That's a 20%-ish down payment that you're going to bring to that investment. So I always recommend you have a little bit of money in savings first. I always recommend you understand what your budget is. So worst case scenario, can I still cover all of these costs? And then find a great lender that knows how to do proper investment funding, and plan to put some money down, because that's actually going to make for a better investment in terms of cash flow later.
I think that's a good point to bring up. Like, people get excited, oh, I'm gonna buy investment property. Like, make sure you own your first house first.
Yeah.
Because that actually is an investment, because you're no longer paying rent to someone else. And then once you own that house for a while, it gains some equity. You can turn it into a rental, you can sell it, you can use that money to buy your next property. Maybe you could use it to buy 2 properties. Maybe you can buy a duplex and live in half of it and rent the other one out. Yeah. So there's lots of different options, the way to do this. And once again, this is really just about exploring those options. So, like, if I was going to do this and I had 20% down or 25% down, do you suggest making something a long-term rental or a short-term rental, or does it really just depend on what the area is that you live in? Like in Bend right now, short-term rentals are actually, they're governed by the city. You can't have a short-term rental unless it falls inside of a certain sector within a certain distance from another house. You have to get a permit, and all those things are fairly hard to do. But you can do something that is considered a short-term rental, but it's for over 30 days. If you rent it for over 30 days, you don't have to follow any of those rules. You can actually fully furnish it, rent it for over 30 days. And then in that aspect, you actually can charge quite a bit more. I sold a townhome about 4 weeks ago, and we sold it for $474,000, 15 days with closing. We were able to purchase it fully furnished, but within 15 days, it was rented for $3,600 a month. So
Hmm.
they put 25% down, cash flowing asset 15 days after we closed. So things like that definitely are available. And right now, with the market being a little softer on the seller side, you can negotiate some pretty great deals. So, encouragement for anybody out there that's looking to purchase a home or even get into investment property. The time is great right now. Sellers think that they have to sell their house right now. They're a little scared for what the market is because of interest rates. There's options with, as in my last video, we discussed a 2-1 buy down option, which is an amazing option. You can get the interest rate quite a bit lower than what it normally is if you're going to occupy the house. So what would you say, Walt? Like, in closing to somebody, like, where's the best place to start? What should they do? If you were new to the area, what kind of research would you do before you jumped into something like this?
Yeah, great question. There's a lot of pieces to that, but so first I would say the best investment you're ever going to make is in yourself. So similar to buying your own home first, which gives you tons of options in the future for leveraging equity. Also take the time to educate yourself on which strategy you believe you want to use to make sure that it is in fact what you want to do and you're going to do it wisely. There's no right or wrong there. Certainly with a short-term renter, you are looking for a niche. You're looking for something unique. You're either a vacation spot or a cabin in the woods feel, or hey, this is in a ski resort. That's the draw. A short-term rental needs to have some kind of draw for those vacation-minded folks to cycle through. For a long-term rental, you're looking at the more traditional things that you look at in a house, like is this in the right school zone where most people are going to want to move to? Is the long-term market sustainability in a neighborhood going to keep my value of my home up so I can continue to increase the rents year over year? You're looking more of, would I buy this property to live in? And if so, it's probably a good rental as well. So there's a different strategy there for sure. I will also say that there's a lot more income potential with a short-term rental, but there's also a lot more management, a lot more moving parts, a lot more kind of turnover services, if you will. A long-term rental, if done well, can be a little more set it and forget it, but you're not going to make as much money in that process. So it's all about where you at with your risk tolerance, what's your overall investment strategy, what's your goals, and which of those investment strategies best align with your specific goals. And then go educate yourself really well on the process. Find someone that's doing what you want to do and shadow them. Maybe even bother to find somebody that's doing what you want to do and say, hey, I've got the money, you've got the experience. Let's do a deal together where we split the profit 50-50. And then 2 years later, maybe there's a buyout so that I can get the experience you have. And for trading your time and experience, I'll bring more to the table financially. Do whatever you got to do to learn, because once you get it a little knowledge under your belt, it really starts to build traction pretty fast.
That's awesome. Hey, well, if someone wanted to call and ask you questions or send you an email, would you be willing to respond to them?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
What's the best way to get a hold of you?
The easiest way to reach me is walter.key@gmail.com. walter.key@gmail.com. So shoot me a note. Just put, investment question or something like that in the subject line so I know what to look for. More than happy to answer anybody's questions about it.
That's awesome. Walt's actually partnered with me at eXp Realty. He's one of my sponsors in the business and someone I look to with a great amount of respect and trust, because he's very smart, he's very educated, and he's done a lot of this work too, already. So why not work with the best when you are deciding to do something like this? So as always, guys, if you guys have liked this conversation and you like the information that's being out, we would love to have you as a subscriber. Hit that little bell for updates and you will find out first when there's any new content being brought about investing in Bend, Oregon real estate. Once again, Joshua Grossman with eXp Realty, and we will talk to everyone soon. Thank you.